now. Okay, so basically in the last lecture we have discussed about the examples related to the path sensitization, path sensitizing, and we have discussed 2 3 examples how to solve or how to find out the optimized test vectors, right, using path sensitization. So that is all about the combinational logic circuit testing techniques. Okay, whatever we have discussed, all these are the combinational logic testing techniques. Now, in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the sequential logic circuit testing. Right? We have already discussed what are the different methods for the combinational logic circuit testing. You have stuck at fault, path sensitization, and random test. Right? Random test can be a mix, or it can be a simply a extension to the path sensitization with some random test vector. Right? That is the random test. Okay. So these are the 3 methods: stuck at fault, path sensitization, and random test. These three methods are used for the testing of the combinational logic circuit. Now, for the sequential logic circuit, what are the testing methods available? So we have a scan path testing, then we have a boundary scan, right? You have a scan path testing, boundary scan. That boundary scan can be known as JTAG. Okay, you might have heard about the word JTAG interface, JTAG cable, and all that, right? So boundary scan is nothing but the JTAG. And third method that you can see is the built-in self-test. Okay, this one. This is the third method. So now we are going to discuss about the first method, that is the scan path testing. Okay, so you have a scan path testing, built-in self-test, and boundary scan, or JTAG. You can say boundary scan and JTAG is one and the same. Okay, now basically this method is used for the sequential logic circuit. Okay, now this is what the circuit setup. Now how actually this circuit works? Okay, so basically this circuit works in a 4 steps, right? This circuit works in a 4 step. Now first thing is you have to enable the clock pin. You have to enable this norm scan pin, right? You have to enable this scan pin. This is the first step. Second step, after enabling the scan pin, you have to scan in the data. This is the second step. First step is what? You have to enable this scan pin. After enabling this scan pin, you have to scan in the data, right? You have to scan in the data. This is the second step. In third step, then you have to disable this scan pin. Okay, you have to disable the scan pin and give one clock pulse. This is the third step. पहिली स्टेप काय करायचं की स्कॅन पिन इनेबल करायची. सेकंड स्टेप डेटा स्कॅन इन करायचा सो दॅट इट विल गेट load into this flip flop. Third step, you have to disable this, right? You have to disable this and apply a clock pulse so that whatever the data that there is in a flip flop, that will appear at the output side, right? That is appear at the output side, right? Then now the third step, again enable this scan pin, enable this scan pin and scan out the data, right? Enable the scan pin and scan out the data, right? So these are the 4 steps that we are using for this scan part testing, right? Means first we have to enable the scan pin, then we have to load the data using scan in operation, right? Then disable the scan pin, then apply one clock pulse, right? So the data will transfer at the output side. Then again enable the scan pin and scan out the data, right? Then enable this scan pin and scan out the data, right? So that now you can able to check the data. That means after enabling this scan out data and whatever the
सर
data, now
आवाज बरोबर
where
येत नाही
this
सर.
data, okay, now where
आवाज
this
अडकतोय सर.
data, now it is, now it is clear.
हा सर येतो सर.
Okay. Now we have to look where this data coming from, right? So basically this scan testing or this scan path testing circuit we have attached to a combinational logic. You can apply it to a sequential logic also, no problem. So basically whatever the data that we are testing after scan out, that data is coming from the combinational circuit. Now means what? Whatever the combinational design, you are inputting the data into that combinational circuit, and after again you are scanning out the data from that circuit, so that you can have or you can tally from where whatever the data you have inputted and whatever the data you are getting after scan out. Now you have to tally that data, and from that process you can easily find out the fault. If the data inputted, right, it is matched with the scan out data, that is the expected output, you can say in this case, right? Scan out is what? Expected output. Now you can say there is no fault. If whatever the data you have inputted that doesn't match with the scan out data, right, that means expected output data, you can say there is a fault into a circuit, right? So this is for the scan part testing method, and basically it is used for the complex sequential circuit, or if sometimes it can be used for some complex combinational circuit also. Okay, the same thing it is explained here. Okay, so for different circuit you can use different number of multiplexers. This is what the multiplexer, right? Different number of flip-flops. This is used for the storing purpose. So in this case this D flip-flop will act as a storing register. Okay, it will hold the data for temporary. Now next we are going to discuss about the built-in self-test. Okay, now what is this built-in self-test? As the name indicates, you have some built-in testing facilities, right, that is available on the chips, or that is available on the board or your target circuit board, right? There are some inbuilt testing facilities that are provided with your target board. That may be a FPGA, that may be a nowadays it is available with some embedded board also, right? Through a JTAG interface you can easily check that board also. Okay, so basically this built-in self-test facility, it is provided within the board, right? So that you does not require, or you wouldn't be required any additional circuitry for the testing purpose, right? त्या बोर्ड बरोबरच तुम्हाला एक टेस्टिंगची फॅसिलिटी दिलेली असते, सो दॅट you don't require any additional testing circuit for this built-in self-test. Okay, now this built-in self-test again have some three types, or one is the linear feedback shift register, LFSR. Now what do you mean of that linear feedback shift register, or what do you mean by the word linear? Okay, in analog communication, okay fine, you can easily understand linear means what? The circuit which follows the superposition principle, it is the linear circuit, right? But now in case of digital circuit, how you would identify the circuit is linear or non-linear? So there is one simple rule to identify whether that circuit, the digital circuit, sequential circuit, is linear or non-linear is XOR addition of any two sets or any two input, right? Again, I will repeat. XOR addition of any two input will be a valid input only, right? That means whatever the addition of any two random inputs, if you take the XOR addition of that, and whatever the resultant of that XOR addition you will get, that will be also a valid input to that circuit. And if your circuit follows this principle, then you can say it is a linear circuit in case of digital design, right? In case of analog, you have a superposition principle, that is okay. But in case of digital circuit, how to verify whether circuit is linear or not is to using a modulo 2 addition, that is nothing but the XOR addition, right? I guess you have studied about the modulo 2 addition and XOR addition. So modulo 2 or XOR addition of any two inputs will be, or its resultant will be also a valid input. And if your circuit follows this principle, then it's a linear. So this circuit basically follows this linearity principle, right? So the name is linear feedback shift resistor, right? Now how this circuit works? So basically it's a simple what you can say, a D-type flip-flop. After applying every clock pulse, the data is outputted and the new data will get loaded into the flip-flop. Very simple working, right? So you can use more than what you can say 4D flip-flops depending upon how many inputs or how many outputs or how many test vectors you require. So depending upon that, you can use that many number of flip-flops. See, one flip-flop is able to store the 1 bit only. So depending upon how many bit test vector or how many bit input you have, depending upon that, you can use the D flip-flop. So it is very basic working principle of this linear feedback shift resistor, and this is also one of the type of built-in self-test method. Okay. Now next you have a built-in logic block observer. Okay. Now next you have a built-in logic block observer. Now this particular method, it is used for the or what we can say, you can operate this circuit onto a different modes, right? Basically depending upon the combination that you have given at M1 and M2, you can have different what we can say, operation of the circuit. For example, for if you apply M1 and M2 with certain combination, then this same circuit can behave as a linear feedback shift resistor. If you apply certain combinations to the M1 and M2 pin, the same circuit will get resetted. Then again, and as you know, how many combinations you can apply? As you have only two pins, maximum 4 combinations can apply. That means the same circuit can behave differently in 4 different manners, right? In first manner, it will behave as a linear feedback shift resistor. In second manner, it can also behave as a scan part testing mode. In third manner, it can behave as a signature analysis, and fourth, it will be resetted, right? So depending upon the combination or depending upon the which mode you are selecting, this particular circuit will behave accordingly, right? This particular circuit will behave accordingly. So here in this case, if you apply 0 0, right? If you apply 0 0, then it's a normal mode operation. Okay, if you apply 0 0, it's a normal mode operation. That means you can say it will behave as a scan part mode or scan part testing mode. If you apply 0 1, that means M1 0 and M2 1, then the same circuit will behave as a linear feedback shift resistor, LFSR. Then if you apply 1 0, right? If you apply 1 0, then this circuit will get resetted. That means it will erase everything and it will come back to its original state. That means it will simply reset. And if you apply 1 1, then the same circuit will behave as a signature analysis circuit. Okay, so depending upon the which mode you are selecting, you can have this built-in logic block observer to be work as per your requirement, right? Whether you want to have this circuitry as a scan part testing mode, or whether you want to reset this, or whether you want to have this circuitry for the signature analysis purpose, everything. So the same circuit you can use in a 4 different modes. Okay, this is about the built-in logic block observer. Now the next, again, you have what we can say separate circuit for the signature analysis also. This is also a type of built-in self-test technology. But nowadays, if you have only the built-in logic block observer, then it will serve all the purpose. It will act as a scan part testing mode. It will act as a signature analysis. It will act as a linear feedback shift register, and it will also get resetted. Okay, so if you have only that built-in logic block observer circuit, it will serve your 4 different purpose depending upon the combination that you will select. Okay, so here is the example. Now you can see here is one built-in built-in logic block observer. Here is the second built-in logic block observer, and this particular circuit itself will act as a signature analysis circuit, right? So you have to scan in data to this built-in logic block observer. Now this same circuit, as we have selected the signature analysis mode, this same circuit will act as a signature analysis circuit. Now you have here combinational network 1, here combinational circuit 1. Now you can proceed with this signature analysis. Now what is this signature analysis? So for the testing purpose, right, particular circuit, after some predefined manual what we can say testing methods, you have simply checked or simply set one group of bits, right, that will act as a signature. That means what? If any input at that particular point matches with that signature, then you can say there is a no fault. If it doesn't matches with the predefined signature, that means some predefined manual output or some expected output, you can say in that case. So you can conclude that there is a fault into the circuit. Okay, so this is about the signature analysis using built-in logic block observer. And always, if you have seen the FPGA boards or some CPLD boards, now every FPGA and CPLD boards have provided with some boundary scan technique also. That means JTAG interface, as well as some built-in self-test facility also, right? So you can check the circuit simultaneously without any requirement of the additional hardware. Okay, on board itself they have provided this hardware to check the circuit or to test the circuit using this built-in self-test method. Okay, and this is one of the biggest advantage of this built-in self-test method. Okay, so this is the second type of sequential logic testing. Now the last type you have is a boundary scan test. Okay, this is the last type, boundary scan test, or it can be known as a JTAG test, right? What do you mean by JTAG? Joint Action Test Group, right? It is a JTAG, Joint Action Test Group. So basically, this boundary scan is nothing but the JTAG. Okay, this boundary scan nothing but the JTAG. Now, why we require this JTAG? So the testing techniques, right, that we have used, it is okay for the it can be implemented on chip, that means built-in things, or it can be test or the circuit, or you can say the DUT, design under test. It can be checked with the some external methods. So if you provide the circuit with some interface, okay, for example, JTAG interface, there is a JTAG cable, and if you connect that JTAG cable with your board and your computer, then it has some its own predefined data set or a predefined instruction set, JTAG, and using that instruction, though you are using that particular board, then also simultaneously you can test the circuit with the help of JTAG interface. And it is not only the purpose to take, with the help of JTAG, the data transfer also will be very easy, right? Now, when the chips are soldered onto a PCBs, it is often becomes impossible to attach test probes to the pins, right? Because if you see the both sided or double sided PCBs, now there is no actually the space that you can actually uh, attach the probes, and you will check the voltage, you can check the currents. It is not possible. So basically, this obstruct the testing purpose unless some indirect access to the pin is provided, right? And if you want to check that pin, then what will be the solution? So this CAN part concept can be extended to a board level also to deal with the problem. That means when you have very complex PCBs or double-sided PCBs where it is difficult to actually get their pin separated, then you can attach the pins, right? Because nowadays there are much finer PCBs are available, and most of the PCBs are double sided. Okay, so you cannot have their what we can say soldered pins out, and then you can attach the test probes and you can measure the current voltage. No, it is not possible. Now, what is the solution to this? Now, the solution to this is the boundary scan test, right? It is the just extended scan pass method to the board level, so that the each and every pin or each and every terminal of that IC you can able to check through this boundary scan test. Okay, and how to check, or how you will get, or how you will communicate with that boundary scan, or how you will carried out this boundary scan test principle using the JTAG interface, right? You have connected the JTAG pin to the board. Okay, then the JTAG pin, depending upon the instruction set, depending upon the for JTAG testing, there is some instruction set, and you have to choose the instructions so that through the JTAG interface, the each and every terminal of each and every IC on the board will get tested automatically, right? Now you can imagine how testing is made easy with this boundary scan testing. I will repeat again. With this JTAG interface, the each and every terminal of each and every IC on the board will get tested automatically depending upon your instruction. Just you need to connect to the JTAG interface, and you have to write some instructions, right? Testing instruction, test code you have to write, and that code you have to execute, so that the each and every pin of each and every IC, whatever the ICs, whatever the different what we can say chips, different microcontrollers, FPGAs, CPLDs, whatever there is a board, that will get tested automatically through this boundary scan test. Okay, and this is the biggest advantage of this what we can say having this boundary scan testing method using JTAG interface. So if you talk about JTAG interface, nowadays I guess we are using JTAG 11 point something version, right? That is the most latest version. It has its own modified instruction set also, and through that instruction set, the complex circuit boards, even a two-sided PCB board also you can able to check with the JTAG interface. Okay, so this is about the boundary scan test method. Now this is the test bench part. So this we will discuss while we will discuss the practicals. Okay, how to write the test bench and all that. Okay, so here is the end of unit number 3, that is testing of logic circuit. Again, I will repeat very briefly what we have discussed. We have started with the need of testing, right? Then we have discussed about the testing techniques for the combinational logic circuit and sequential logic circuit. For a combinational logic circuit, you have a Stuckart fault model, path sensitization, and random test. Then for a sequential logic circuit testing, you have a scan path testing, you have a built-in self-test, right? That linear feedback shift resistor, built-in logic block observer. This is nothing but the built-in self-test only. That is one testing method of built-in self-test. And finally, the third one is the JTAG, that is boundary scan test. Okay, so these are the different testing techniques that can be used for the combinational as well as sequential logic circuit. Okay, so here we have finished with the unit number 3. In next lecture, we are going to start with the new unit, that is unit number 4, MOS transistors. Okay. If you have any query related to this unit or whatever we have discussed in this unit, you can ask me right now.